and welcome to Sports Talk. I'm Phil Hill, and this month we have a review of the winter sports. And as always, we're pleased to have the Supervisor of Athletics for East Brunswick Schools, Frank Noppenberger. Welcome to Sports Talk, Frank.
Phil, thank you for having me as your guest, and believe me, it's my pleasure being here.
It looks like it's sort of pat each time we meet that we start talking about the records that have been established at East Brunswick for the year, and once again, they're phenomenal records. And I guess it's the system again.
The best thing about the winter season, as we sit right here, it's still going on. We still have 3 wrestlers in state competition, and girls basketball tomorrow night. We'll be playing Piscataway for the 4th time to possibly win that Central Jersey Championship. So although most of them are finished and the spring season has started, there's still a few going on.
Let's talk a little bit about the people who keep the athletes pumped up somewhat, the cheerleaders, and the new coach, Kim Tobin.
Great job. Miss Tobin came into us pretty inexperienced as cheerleading. She had 1 year of experience, and she was taking over for 2 veterans in Mangino and Guido, who had the system down perfect. I mean, they would have been coaches of the year if there was such a thing. So she had a tough road to follow, and I was real happy with the job that she did, and her assistant, Lynn Regan, who teaches at the high school also. And they did a real nice job. We ended up having 19 kids for the winter. We had 6 males, I believe. One of them, Rob, you know who Rob is, one of your buddies. He sang the national anthem right. for us, Van Usen. Right. Sang the national anthem for us many times. He did a real nice job for us. So I think she's going to continue that tradition that has been started. And if I would like to just mention 3 of our seniors who we'll miss dearly and did a great job for us, Melanie Bennett, Marcy Denberg, and of course Christine McSweeney. They did a great job as seniors. They took on the leadership roles, and we're going to miss them.
Okay. The thing about it is cheerleading has gotten quite competitive. I mean, I got a chance to sit in the stands and actually watch a game at the county finals, and I've seen a number of state playoffs and whatnot, and the fans are watching the cheerleaders. I mean, they really are seeing, you know, how well cheerleaders are doing.
For a while it seemed, Phil, that we got away from cheerleading, getting the crowd into it, and now they've got 2 roles, these people. During the game, they've got to bring the crowd into it by chance of defense, which you've heard many times, and then at halftime or at timeouts, they have to be somewhat of entertainers, some dancers or gymnasts. As a matter of fact, the coaches and I have been talking. We're trying to run a competition this spring, cheerleading competition for any of the local high schools who would like to. It's right now at the beginning stages, but it's something I'm excited about, and I think hopefully we'll be able to pull it off.
Okay. Basketball, boys basketball. Bohannon had a fine season, 16-10, and I'll tell you the truth. Bo had about 6 or 7 letter winners go from last year's county championship team, and I didn't really expect them to be as good as they were this year, and they turned out a very fine season.
I think everyone had that same opinion as you did, Phil, except me. I felt, because I know what kind of coach Bo is, I know what kind of person he is, and I knew Coach Henning would have the kids competitive. 16-10, you take Linden, St. Joe's at St. Joe's. Was there any other buzzer games that we lost at the end? I mean, that could have been a big swing in the season. Right. And if we beat Linden or Joe's, that would have given us a better seed in the state tournament. I see. And maybe Piscataway would have been at our house or one of these other schools. So that just goes to show you how important every game is. Early in the year, you lose a game, it may mean something later on as far as seeding in the state tournament or the conference tournament. But I think 3 seniors that deserve mentioning. Of course, Mike Tresca, who did a great job again down the end during tournament time. And I think he's going to end up playing college basketball somewhere with some sort of a scholarship.
He's a tough competitor.
Right. I mean, I think that gives him to a T. And of course, Vangerud and Caruso did a great job for us. And we're going to miss those guys. It seems like Tresca's been around forever. And Vangerud and Caruso, I remember seeing them, I don't know, 10 years ago playing basketball.
I'll tell you, each of them had an outstanding game in the county tournament. Van Garud, of course, hitting, I guess, 6 out of 7 three-pointers. Caruso with 32 points in one game, and they showed what they're made of. Two fine athletes.
Well, that was the senior leadership, and that's what you hope for as a coach. But, you know, we're all disappointed that we didn't go further in the States and possibly win the conference tournament or get to the finals. But in a year or so, we're going to sit back and, again, shake Bo's hand and say what a great job.
What a great job he's done once again. Reggie Carney, of course, the girls basketball, 23-4, as you point out, still in the state playoffs is quite an accomplishment. We've come to expect that of Reggie, and they, again, a super team. Can they beat Piscataway? I don't think it's important. I think right now, and I think the year has been a great success, regardless of what happens tomorrow.
It's amazing to me, Phil, how the coaches know personnel. They know who they're playing against. Reggie guaranteed me we were going to have a great year this year. I kind of shook my head and said, and you know, and then we back and forth busted one another. But he knew that Jesse Olszewski coming in was going to be an outstanding freshman, a kid that can shoot that three when we need it. And he knew that Piscataway would be a pain in the butt, excuse my expression, to us. And I think we have a shot tomorrow night against Hightstown. You know, he's going to come up with another sort of a gimmick. He tried the triangle in two a little bit, or the chaser, the 1-3-1 with a chaser. It's all the same thing. And it seemed to get them out of their rhythm a little bit. So he's going to come up with something. The JVs under Marianne Lewis had a great season. They lost 2 games all year.
Wow.
So the future, again, is going to be bright. But Megan O'Neill is only a sophomore, which, again, I think she's been here forever.
Well, but you have Megan O'Neill. Of course, Stephanie Little's evolution.
She's a junior.
A junior is going to be one of the sensational players in the county next year. But you got to talk about the seniors, the 2 seniors, Jill Kinney and Gio Oreo. I think it's their leadership that made the big difference this year. And they're willing to play any role Reggie Carney asked them to play, and that's one of the reasons they're still playing basketball today.
I couldn't say it any better myself. And also, watch when it's crunch time. You know, the underclassmen are looking over a little bit too, both of them.
I see.
And they're stepping it up. How many times have you seen when we needed a basket, the other team was making a run, and Jill split the defense, playing it, and then hit that J. And then Gio, she's had a tough year, but boy, is she coming through for us.
She came through very well.
What a great person she is, too.
Everyone says the same thing. I'd like to move on to wrestling. Glenn Bazinko had a 7-5 year, some outstanding young wrestlers, some very good wrestlers. I got a chance to see them a couple times, and they really perform, and they had some people, last I looked, still involved in the state situation.
We have 3 in the state. We have Eric Bellis, who's a senior, and you never know what he's going to do. We got Josh Jabin.
What a story right there.
He's going to the Naval Academy.
With pain.
He's got that bad back. As a matter of fact, the other night he beat the #1 seed in the regions. So that's going to, or is it the region? So that was a boost for him.
Yeah.
And of course, out of nowhere, Phil Leota. I shouldn't say out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Phil always had the potential, and he was always close. Now he just stepped it up one bit. So we've got 3 guys, you know, into that state level competition. And I think the younger kids, like the Christian Yazzo, who's a freshman, they look at that, okay, and see that they can be there someday. Or Larry Benson, who's only a junior.
Is that right?
Right, he's a junior, and he knows what that next level is, what he has to do, that extra work. And Rob McKinley did a great job, and another senior, Scott Munez, M-U-N-E-Z.
Right.
He did a great job for us. So it was a good mixture, but Glenn thinks we're going to be a lot better next year.
I'm sure of that.
Shateri and Mooney, you know, hard-working coaching staff. They're going to have them doing the summer circuit, weight training in the fall. So we may be looking for a title next year.
Okay, I see this year, boys winter track, we did have a season this year. Last year we didn't have a season. 4-2 for Kevin McAvoy. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Just where Mac thought we would be, 4-2. You know, there's a couple teams we just can't get over the hump. You're missing 1 or 2 kids. But we had 2 names you're familiar with, Sarapin and Bettis, who did the weights for us and did a real nice job. Tagliente did a great job in the sprints for us. And then the distance people, excuse me, did a real nice job, but the names just keep coming up all the time. It's the same men. It's Riker, it's Blackborough, it's Valentine, the same names. So there's a good nucleus, and they had a good winter. It wasn't exceptional, it wasn't championship, but I think they're going to build on that winter season and bring it into the fall, into the spring. And I think under Coach Don Mandy, I think we're going to maybe win a division.
Okay. Girls winter track, Brian American had a 5-2 record, a very fine season again.
Again, Piscataway was right there in front of us at one point. And again, we're always 1 or 2 events or athletes short. What a year Kira Horvath had, you know. I mean, she could be one of our all-time best female athletes, especially female track athletes. She was conference champ again in the 3200, and that's after finishing second in the 1600 the same day, just a little while before. She showed a lot of guts, and she knew that was her last shot, so she went out and she won it. So our hats go off to Kira. And then she had some other supporting cast in that track team. Amy Hand did a good job for her. And for the track team and Coach Merrigan, I think we're on the verge of breaking through into a power once again in track. You know, it's just a little downhill right now. But it's not a downhill, it's 5-2.
I see, that's a...
To some schools, that would be exceptional, and we're very pleased with the job Coach Merrigan does and the girls' performance. It's just that, you know, maybe we can win a division next year.
I hear you. Said Kara Horvath, tremendously hard worker. A few times on the weekends I'm up there at the track to run off some of my anxiety, and you can see her even then working out, just a tremendous performer.
She's got a great work habit, and a lot of it's inside, that desire to win that she has. And I think that comes from a family of people who are athletic and athletically minded.
That's right. Her father, Sandy, and of course her mother must be pretty excited as well.
She's a very good runner also.
I see. Okay. We shoot over to boys bowling, and Bob hedged us 23-1.
Yeah. I forgot, boys bowling is still alive. In the beginning of the show,
okay.
Boys and girls bowling.
Okay.
Girls bowling for the first time qualified for the state tournament.
18-3-3 girls.
And they're going to be playing this Saturday, 1 o'clock at Carolier, and so will the boys for state championships. And it's a toss-up at this level, Phil. It's a couple pins, it's a couple spares here or there. So I think both of them have a shot at winning it. And both won the division, both were undefeated, both made it to the conference championship, and we came across a little bad luck. I think somebody put some glue on the bottom of a couple pins or something, you know.
You also had one of your key players missing, I read in the papers.
Yeah, there was a problem with academics there, so he was not available to us. But what a great season. I mean, Cheryl Bennett, I believe she's a freshman. She had a great year. Doriana Christensen had a great tournament for us. Lauren Pine and Vicky Pride did a great job for the girls. And the boys, of course, Walter Hastings.
Of course.
We'll be watching him on TV. My favorite, John Pearson, is just, you know John? Big John?
Yes.
He throws that ball, and it's like a splash, just like they say. Sam Esterlis did a great job, Brian Litt, and of course Bob Parkinson, midway through the season, was inserted into the lineup, and I think he averaged over 200, you know, the last half of the year.
Wow.
So, and they're young. And I know every time we're on the show, we talk about being young and next year. But they were alive this year. We were undefeated.
Wow. Okay,
we won the division, and now we're knocking on the door to be a state champion in both boys and girls. And Coach Hegedus does a great job. He's just he comes in the office every day and talks about bowling. I mean, Bo will come in, and Reggie and Marcus will talk. Hawk will come in. We'll talk about every sport. But you would never think about bowling. Yeah. He comes in all the time.
Are both boys and girls meets held at the same time all the time?
Yeah, at Carolier.
Okay.
That's a great athletic event. That's the only sport I know, Phil, whereas if the opponent makes a good shot, like a strike, they high-five them. I mean, I don't see that happening in football, baseball, or basketball. Could you imagine after hitting a grand slam, a guy coming around third base and the third baseman slapping them high five or something?
I think that in bowling, strikes aren't necessarily the good shots. the good shots are usually the spares that you pick up.
Right. Well, they do it for both.
Okay.
It's just a great atmosphere for high school athletics, and I'd invite anyone to go down there and watch it. It's just very rewarding to see the competition, but then congratulate someone if they do something well.
That's great. Swimming, both boys and girls. Bill Pellegrino, boys 10-1-1, an outstanding season, and girls swimming 6-6. Can we talk about the boys first?
Well, I guess the name or the story of the boys, of course, again, is Dave Slawinski.
Dave Slawinski. Wow.
Olympic caliber. I mean, he's state champ 4 times in the 200 IM and the 500 free. I mean, state champ 3 times, the best. I mean, that's amazing. Right.
We're going to hear from him clearly further down the road.
Right. Well, he's going to the University of North Carolina on a swimming scholarship. And I think in the conversation with him and Pell, I've heard that they're going to allow him time off from scholarship or whatever for training for the Olympics. He's that good. As a matter of fact, the Meadowlands just called me, and they made him their January, or February, I should say, Athlete of the Month.
That's fantastic.
So they're going to honor him at halftime of the Nets-Sixers game. I don't know if anyone's going to be there on the 25th or the 26th of March.
Okay.
And that's quite an honor for him. But he had some nice supporting staff. He had Brad King, who's a young swimmer.
Okay.
We had Joey Zanetti, who's a young swimmer coming back. Adam Kiefer. He's a big kid who's going to come back and help us out next year. He's only a junior. And A.J. Circarello, I think that's how it's pronounced.
Okay.
10-1, we didn't make the states because of that power points, which you're familiar with, as in football. So we're going to upgrade our swimming schedule a little bit and try to knock off some of the big boys. Now the girls, they were in around 500, and again, they have to contend with some of those powers, but they're on their way to getting back to, well, they are respectable, I shouldn't say that.
That's right, 6-6, sure.
And the bottom line is they're competing, we win or lose with class, and they're learning, they're having fun, and they enjoy having the coaches work with them. There's more to it than just winning, and we're real proud of the way the girls finished the season. They were there all the time. We have no problem. Katie Heinbuch is a diver. She was conference champ in diving.
Let's hold up. I thought we were talking about swimming. Is diving a part of swimming?
It is. And years ago, they used to count the diving score and the swimming score together. Now, for whatever reason, there's not a lot of schools having diving anymore, so they're dropping diving. It probably has something to do with liability and having the facility to dive into. But we still have diving, and we have a diving coach, and we offer diving for boys and girls. Gail Kahn was in the state championships for diving. A few years ago, we had the boys state champion in diving. So it is still an event. There's just not a lot of it out there. But Heather Patterson did a great job for as a senior co-captain in swimming. And I think we're going to be better next year. Karen Mayer and Tara Lingenfelter are coming back, and they're going to provide that nucleus that you need. You see, you got to swim all year round. I know I say you got to do it in basketball, but swimmers, some of them even do doubles. Like David, he swims in the morning, then he swims with us. And I don't know if it's right or wrong, but to be that good, that's just something you have to do. So just by competing and swimming, my hat goes off to them, because no one can understand the dedication they have in the middle of February or January when they got to get on a bus, drive over to Middlesex, and come back.
Wow. Okay. We're about finished with the athletes, but I hear a lot of talk about this OSN. I think it's Online Scouting Network, and probably recruiting seems to be the talk around Middlesex County for more than one reason. And can you tell us a little bit about OSN?
OSN is a service, Online Scouting Network, that Mr. Tantillo, our principal, and I sat down and discussed to give it a shot. It's almost like a dating service, if I may. You fill out a form as an athlete, and we're going to call it, let's pick on Maxie. We're going to call it Maxie Hill. And Maxie Hill puts in all this information handwritten onto a form along with his picture. His height, his weight, his speed, his accolades in athletics, and as well as in academics. And they put a profile together for him, and now he's on the internet. So now a school, let's call it Kansas Westland.
Kansas
See, you didn't think I did,
You
did you?
remembered that, didn't you?
Kansas Westland is now looking for a fullback that's 200 pounds that can run the wishbone. And it's got a GPA of a 3.4. And they put this on this internet, and all these names are going to appear, and Maxie's going to be one of them. So now Kansas Westland will send Max a letter to East Brunswick High School in care of the coach. The coach will give it to Max. Max will say, do I want to go to Kansas Westland? Do I not want to? And that's the first process, or the first step in the recruiting. It's free to our athletes, and if they haven't been into my office to pick up the form, now we're using it just for the juniors and the sophomores this year.
Okay.
Because the seniors, it's already too late.
I see.
Sophomores and juniors, they should come in my office, they can pick up a form, fill it out, and bring it back. And then this OSN will put it on their network. And if a college is looking for someone.
Interesting.
Now, this service is great for those Division II and III athletes.
That's right.
Right, that maybe you're looking for a good fit academically and athletically. And it's just one way of giving the kids more exposure. Now, Phil, let me real fast. This does not exclude the coaches of their responsibility of promoting the kids in their own sport. Like Reggie and Marcus, they do as good a job as anyone in the state or an agency promoting their kids and getting them scholarships and getting them into the school of their choice. So the coaches, along with this service, will just give our athletes that much more opportunity to get where they want to go. It doesn't guarantee a scholarship, but it may help you get into a school that you're looking to go to.
Has your SAT scores included in that profile as well?
Yes, everything's on there.
Everything's there.
And then you sign a permission slip that allows it to go out, and no one else has access to that. Each of the colleges will have a password. And to get into this network, into this program, they've got to put in their password. And if it's a Max Hill who's good in track and good in football, well, then they fill out both forms.
I see.
So one school may be looking for a track athlete, one school may be looking for football. And with schools with, I don't want to call them minor sports, but they're referred to as minor sports, volleyball, golf, tennis, this is the ideal thing for them, where the coach can't afford to go out and recruit, to visit, to send a mail. They'll just pull up names on the network, and then they'll go from there, and they'll eliminate people by looking at the profile that they're looking for. I'm excited about it. I think it's going to work. We just started it this year, and you know, it'll be interesting to see 2 or 3 years down the road how much it did help our student athletes get into that school of their choice.
Okay, so youngsters, sophomores and juniors that may be interested should call who?
They should come to the athletic office, pick up that form, and then we'll explain it to them, because some of them don't understand. And the best thing about it, it's free.
It's free.
It's free for the student athletes.
Wow. I think parents don't realize sometimes just how competitive it is out there. I mean, you have a youngster that's a good student and a pretty good athlete, but there are a lot of good students and a lot of pretty good athletes out there that schools have to pick from. And you're right, if they can get the jump by checking out this profile and whatnot, it may be advantage to their youngster.
Especially for the juniors, because come this summer, that's when a lot of the coaches do their scouting and recruiting. And if they're looking for a Division II basketball, looking for a point guard, and he goes to these camps and he sees these 4 names that he got from the network, and he sees 4 names, and he goes and visits them over the summer at camps or AAU, he can now put his priority order on these kids.
I see.
And then half of his recruiting is done.
Is done. Interesting. Online scouting network. Be sure to check it out.
Thank you.
Frank, the spring season starts when, and what's the forecast? We don't have much time.
Okay. Practice started March 8th, which was Saturday. Everyone else is starting today, which is the 10th, Monday. April 1st starts the first season. Baseball, we're loaded with pitching. Track.
Let's talk a little bit about that, can you?
Well, Phil, I don't know why, but I'm getting a lot of mail for the coaches through my office from major leagues. I don't know if that's something new, but we have a lot of pitching coming back. And
Caruso being one of those.
Well, right. Well, Caruso plays third base.
Oh, he does.
And he does throw a little bit.
Okay.
But I think with pitching, you can go far in high school baseball. And softball, we got those 2 hurlers. You know, I'm staying away from names. I don't want to make any promises.
Right.
Tennis, we're going to be good. Golf. And then the volleyball. We should do a special show just on volleyball because our boys made it to the state semis last year.
Is that right?
And everyone's back, and the girls were undefeated except for one out-of-conference game. And the girls volleyball this year for the first time, Phil, we're in a league. And there's going to be a tournament, there's going to be a division, there's a conference, the playoff.
Well, I played volleyball last week in South River down in junior high school, and I'm sore all over. Tremendous game. I'd like to get Channel 8 in there, perhaps to do a game at the high school.
Yeah, I think that would be great to let people see what volleyball it is. It's not what you and I, or what you did down at South River last weekend. It's not what we do in the backyard.
Yeah.
These are highly trained athletes, you know, like a Vangaroo going up and spiking the ball.
Right.
You know, he can jump 10 feet, so that's 10 feet up, and he's hitting that ball down with a velocity of probably 50, 60, 70 miles an hour. But it's going to be exciting this spring.
And the kids love it. I happened to see, I was up to high school when the first day, I guess they had volleyball players come out, and Celine Hagan, who's still involved in state playoffs for basketball, was up there looking around. Of course, she's a volleyball player as well, and I think that's the type of attention volleyball draws.
They get great kids. Our 4 coaches are outstanding, and it took us a little too long to get it. I mean, I wish we had it years ago, but we're among the best in the state now.
Already?
And it only took us 4 years, and that's a credit. I have nothing to do with it. The administration cooperated. We have the athletes and we have the coaches. And it's just an exciting thing to watch. So I invite everyone out there to come on out and watch. Ask for a schedule. We'll send it to you.
Okay, I promise to try at least capture a game there. Frank, we're about out of time, but as always, I want to thank you for coming here and sharing the results of the season just passed, and we look forward to having you back again.
Thank you. If I may, April 17th, Don Weider's having a retirement dinner after all these years of state gymnastic championships. If anyone's interested in attending, they can contact me at the athletic office, and I appreciate you giving me that little plug for Don.
Okay, great. Okay, so for Frank Noppenberger, I'm Phil Hill saying join us next time.